Good morning. Hi, hi. Well, um, we're just gonna let folks roll in here, and I am gonna be inside today because we're having quite a windy day this morning outside. Hi, Anat. Good to see you. And I see that Kathy and Claudia are here as well. I think Kathy's still trying to connect to audio. And Suzanne, fantastic. Um, Yay, Suzanne gets to be outside. That's good. Anat, what time of day is it where you are right now?
It's 6:30 in the evening,
6:30 in the
so
evening.
it's
Okay.
getting really dark now.
Yeah, I could see that
That's
behind you. There's like a little bit of light left there. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but I can hear all the birds gathering for the night sleep just outside the
Yay.
window. It's great.
Oh, that's one of my favorite times. I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right, so folks are rolling in. Find a comfortable seat, somewhere cozy to sit. If you're able to be outside, if not, it's totally fine, like me today. We're having some gusty wind, so I figured that the weather's fine, but it's just so gusty. I don't think you all will be able to hear me. It would be quite distracting. So we're inside. Cindy, do you have us in your boat today? I don't know if she can hear us. Oh, she looks frozen. That'd be so cool. I think we're on her boat. How neat. That's oh yeah, she shakes yes. That's so cool. We're going on a boat ride today, everybody. I always love where we end up. It's so cool. All right. So, anyone new here today? Anyone is this your first time, first sit? I don't think so. I think we're all OGs, OBs, original birders. All right. So, great. You all know the drill. We're going to find a comfortable seat, maybe a cup of tea if you want that, or coffee, or whatever is your beverage of choice. And not, it is evening. Maybe you'll have a glass of wine. I don't know. Whatever you prefer. Yeah, Jacqueline's drinking something. Look, everyone's got their nice little drinks. Great. Well, it's so good to see everybody. And it's really nice to have another week with you, to start the week with you. Been looking forward to this. And let's see. So I have a couple ideas for today, and this is what came to me this morning. So let's, as always, find our feet on the earth or whatever it is that maybe it's near the water for Cindy in her boat close to the water, but whatever it is that's most connects you to the ground below you, whether it's your floor or whatever. And just feel your feet there. Feel that connection with yourself and that is below you. Let yourself just tap into that for a moment. And then today we're going to start with something just a little different. Something that we do. I've been learning from this one gentleman online who does martial arts. He's over in Germany. He's with the Shaolin. He's a Shaolin monk, and he always has us start with posture. He and spends a lot of time actually with posture, and having us stand in an upright posture for many reasons. And I was thinking about that today, and what came to me was this idea that we use in tracking a lot, where you focus on where the pressure is, like the pressure points on a animal's foot, human's foot, whatever animal we're talking about, and it can indicate what that animal is feeling, what it's thinking, where it wants to go. If the pressure is a little bit on the right or on the left, the front, the back, whatever it may be. And I believe that there's a lot that the environment around us, the animals that are around us, can infer just from our posture alone. And so, as we're sitting here with our feet on the earth or wherever they may be right now, just find that point off in the distance, find something to look at right now. And as we're doing that, we won't focus so much on owl eyes in this very moment, but we will in just a bit. I want you just to consider what your posture is right now. So notice, are you leaning forward a little bit, maybe anxious and in anticipation of whatever it may be? Or maybe you're crouched a little bit. There's sometimes people who are scared or concerned, they sort of hold themselves a little, tight like that. Are you able to be expanded and open? And if not, it's okay. It's, for various reasons in our life, maybe we need to be in a particular posture. But if you are able and it feels comfortable to stand in an upright posture, one that where your spine is aligned, where you feel grounded and centered, where you can find your center. And just work with that for a moment. See what that looks like within you. And just think about what it would be like to have an encounter with an animal, with a bird, whoever it may be, where you come from a grounded, centered place, one where you're conscious of how you're being, versus one that is just sort of us moving just, without much thoughtfulness, without much intention and mindfulness. So just notice how you're sitting, how you're standing. And then see what happens to your breath in that same time. If you are able to sit in an upright posture, are you able to take deeper breaths? Or maybe there is a little anxiety because you are sitting upright now. It's more exposed. It can, in some ways, it's a position of confidence, but it also can be more vulnerable to be more exposed like that. So just be mindful of what is going on in your own body as we approach this bird sit today, in whatever beautiful land you find yourself in right now. So as your feet are on the earth and your eyes are looking, gazing in front of you, and your posture is in whatever it is right now, ideally upright and centered, go ahead and find that one point off in the distance to look at, something that's far away from you right now. And just focus on that one point. And just remember that we're going to close our eyes in just a moment, unless, of course, you're in a boat, Cindy, and you can't do that, but maybe you can. Maybe you're in a position where you can close your eyes right now. So if you feel safe enough to do so, just close your eyes for a few moments. Notice how that upright posture feels. Notice how you might be receiving the world right now with your upright posture, with your grounded and centered spine. And from this place, set an intention for this time. We have just a little time together this morning, a sweet, sweet time together. So what do you intend for this time with us and also with yourself in relationship to the earth around you? It doesn't have to be anything profound. It can just be simple. And then when you feel you have your intention, you can open your eyes and find that point that you were looking at off in the distance. And from this grounded place, this place with intention, with purpose in our sit today, we're going to focus on owl eyes. So if anyone is new, if someone came in after we started, owl eyes is a practice that we go into. It's where we focus on one point in front of us and then soften our gaze so that we can take in and receive everything that's in our peripheral vision, both on both sides as well as up and down. So really in a 360-degree view of the earth around us. Just let yourself receive right now all that it might be taking in from this vantage point of owl eyes. So let's spend 1 minute. We'll just do 1 minute in owl eyes. Sometimes it's work. It's definitely an effort to have your eyes be softened like this because we're so used to focusing. So in some ways it's an easier gaze for our eyes, but for us modern humans it might be a little bit more challenging. So we'll spend 1 moment in owl eyes and then we'll work on something else after that. And it may be tempting during this time to focus on something. And of course, if it's something so magnificent and so magical, so aligned with your intention that you want to focus your gaze on that, go for it. But if you're able just to receive and analyze what it is or try to interpret what it may be just from your owl eyes, then go ahead and stay in that if you're able to. And see if you can stay in it for just a little bit longer. And in this moment, notice if your posture has changed. Are you still able to be centered and grounded, or did you shift back to what may be more comfortable for you or the posture that you may have shown up in? So, the beautiful thing about tapping into our posture and our vision and even our hearing, all of those senses, all those ways of being, those are things that are within our control. So, we may not always be able to have an impact on what comes to us, but we certainly can have an impact on how we are presented to the world around us, and then therefore how the world receives us. And so if you're still in owl eyes, that's great. You can stay in that way of looking for a little while longer. And now we're going to bring our ears into it. So starting with the sounds that are as close to you as possible. Maybe some of you can even hear your heart beating. You can start that close. And then slowly moving out. Just as if you're lava creeping across the landscape. Letting yourself feel with your ears all the different textures and sounds that are out there today. And just notice how far your ears can take you. How far are you able to go out in the landscape with your sense of hearing? And how many of those sounds or sights that you're seeing right now are you related to? How many of those do you feel a sense of kinship with, a sense of connection and knowingness? And maybe there's something on the landscape that you want to feel more closely connected to, want to feel more related to, or even something that might be kind of irksome right now. Maybe there's a sound that's troubling you or you wish wasn't there. Just see what it would take for you to feel related. You can ask that question out there. What would it take for me to be related to this sound, this sight right now? You can bring yourself back to your awareness of your posture and your breath. So if you were following along throughout this practice and you're able to stay in that centered, grounded place, sometimes you become more receptive in this centered place. And if that's the case, if you're feeling that right now, the next time you hear a sound that inspires your attention, see if you can tap into what feeling that sound evokes. More so from the maker of the sound's intent rather than your own thoughts about it. Can you tap into the feeling that that one making the sound might be feeling? And maybe you're not able to hear very much right now. Maybe things are relatively quiet where you are. And so you can bring your awareness more to your eyes. And even if it's a tree blowing, just see if you can tap into any emotion that you might be connected to. And for those of you who have stayed in Owl Eyes this long, that's impressive. You can take some time now to let your gaze get more focused on different animals or sights out there. Maybe there's a bird you've been curious about looking at, or a squirrel, or whatever it may be. Let yourself just stay with that one for a little while. And a good trick is that if you're able to be focused on, let's say, a bird and watch it for a little bit, can you stay in owl eyes around that bird? So you can still be looking at that bird, but allow the rest of your vision to stay softened so you can receive all that that bird may be receiving in that moment. And so for the next 5 or 6 minutes, I'm just going to let us stay in silence. So, as we start to wrap our session today, you can bring yourself back to your posture, noticing how you're sitting right now, being mindful of your breath. You can wiggle your toes to remember your feet on the earth. And even as you're looking around, even if you're curious about something in front of you, you can still keep another part of your awareness on who you're being in that moment, how your posture is, how your intention is. In your own way, you can offer gratitude for those ones that decided to show up today in whatever form they came. All right. So, if folks need to go, as usual, you can head out now, and thank you for coming. And if you'd like to stay for our little chat at the end, then please do so. Would love to hear any stories or intentions. If anyone, yeah, let's start with first anything from this morning's sit. So I'd love to hear stories, obviously, from your week. But if there's anything in particular from this sit that you wanted to share, then I'd love to hear that. So I'll open the floor now, and you can just wave your hand or put your virtual hand up. Okay, Jermaine, yeah.
I noticed so strongly that last week there was so many dragonflies, those green darners flying in the yard. And this week there's absolutely none. And they're the ones that migrate, so I'm thinking they're off. And I haven't seen a hummingbird, not only today, but all week or two. And I did see an osprey down at the cove yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be talking about today, but that's for right now. It was a very peaceful sit, and I could hear the cars on the road. And there's one, I guess it's a grasshopper, just like doing that leg thing over and over. And he kind of got up my nose just for a minute or two, but he hasn't shut up once. And what else was? Oh, there's lots of feeder birds, just the usual crowd, nuthatch and chickadee, and then the titmice were going, making a lot of noise about something or other. Maybe my cat's floating around. And anyway, it was very pleasant. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Jermaine, are you in the Carolinas? Where are you about?
I'm in Maine.
You're in Maine. You still have a grasshopper going.
Oh, well, I got either that or a cicada, but I've seen grasshoppers, so they're still going. It's warm here on the coast of Maine, but I mean, it's like 50s to 40s at night,
Yeah, yeah,
up to
yeah.
the 60s today.
Okay. Wow. That's yeah, I wouldn't have imagined that based. I always love to try to guess where
Yeah,
someone's at based on sort of what they're seeing and
yeah.
hearing. It sounds like yeah,
I thought
you
that
must be close
osprey
there.
would be gone by now, but he was still down there fishing away down the
Wow.
coast. Yeah.
That is it must be so much warmer there on the coast then.
It
That's
is very much warmer than inland, yes.
okay. Okay. Wow.
I have no coat on right now.
Yeah, look at that. That's awesome. Sweet. Well, thanks for sharing. Awesome. Did I see someone else's hand up? I can't remember if someone else, would anyone else like to share? Yeah, Claudia. No? Okay. Yeah, so if anyone has any stories from their week or mysteries or things they want to share, then definitely can hear those. Yeah, so one reason oh, did I hear someone come off of speaker? Anyone?
Oh, yeah, I was just wondering where Cindy went. I'm not seeing her on here now. I wanted to hear about her boat.
Oh, yeah, I know. I think she's brought us with her once or twice, but at least I've noticed it once or twice before that I was like, that's a strange, like, I couldn't figure it out at first. And I was like, oh, I bet she's got us in her boat.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
neat.
that's cool. I know. Um, Yeah, I guess I was just thinking about focusing on posture today because there is that idea that that how we approach the world, that we can have an impact on how, how we're received. And then obviously the more welcoming of a presence we are, the more likely the birds and animals will come closer to us and not feel so frightened of us, because we are predators, how no matter if you eat meat or not, you're still a predator in the bird's eyes, and so that does affect how they relate to us. And I think that we have the power to impact that, in both a positive or maybe not so positive way sometimes.
I do have something to say, after what you just said. The birds see us as predators, and yet, when I spend a lot of time in my yard, the birds get used to me and they come to know that I'm not. And I was just thinking that was a lesson for us in our interactions with other people. We may see them as danger or, something we don't want to deal with. But as we get to know them, then we come to accept and love them.
Yeah, exactly. Or ideally, yeah, in an ideal setting, that's the case. Yeah, I think that's a really good perspective to think about, relating it to our human interactions too. I feel like I feel so lucky in this way of being able to connect with birds like this and having a reason to be mindful of myself, because I think it does affect how I relate to people. And yeah, that's a good reminder, Claudia. Thank you for that. Mhm. Yeah, Linda. Oh, might have to unmute.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, good, good.
Well, it was really, really cool out here today for no particular reason. It's a beautiful day and the sun is out and the sky is blue and we're having this wonderful late summer, early fall. We used to call it Indian summer days where it's cold at night. It gets down to the 30s at night, but during the day it can get up as high as 80, which is a big difference. So the birds were all around today and they were just doing their usual stuff. So it felt very comforting to me to just hear all the sounds of the birds, just going about their morning stuff. The town crier, I call this one blue jay that always comes in when I'm out here, and he gets in this aspen tree in front of me and looks at me and then cocks his head and then off he goes. And so he didn't have anything to say today. He just looked at me. He's the one that was really shrieking that time when the sharp-shinned hawk flew into the Canadian red cherry to the side of the deck here. So, but I guess all was well today. So he didn't say anything. And but I hear robins and chickadees and some cedar waxwings and some blue jays in the distance, and red-winged blackbirds are back. We have them in the spring and then they disappear. And then this year they're back for some reason. Right now I'm not that close to water. It's about a half a mile away from where I live, but they're in the yard here. So it's kind of cool to hear them. And then this was just before the sit. This was in the distance, but we have sandhill cranes in this valley that are like staging to fly south. And they mostly stage on the other side of the valley. I'm on the east side of the valley. They stage on the west side, but we've got a pair that fly back and forth periodically over right by the river, which is about a half a mile away. And I heard them earlier this morning. I don't hear them now, but anyway, so it's real. I love their calls. They're very it's a very different, unique call. You can't mistake it. They're very
Yeah.
cool. So
It feels, I mean, I don't know what ancient birds sounded like, but somehow it always feels ancient to me. It's like, I haven't
yeah, that's a
that
good
much.
word for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I liked what you brought up about the jay and how the jay was not crying in a sense at you today. And I think that they're often really good indicators. Sometimes that's frustrating. Both the jays and the squirrels and chipmunks can be really good indicators of our sort of internal dialogue and how we're showing up. And
Oh,
if we're a disturbance, you know, if we have a lot sort of going on in our heads or in ourselves, then they tend to be a little bit more bothered by us. And if not so much, then they don't have as much to holler at. And so I think it's a really good indicator. I always use that
Yeah.
as sort of a good reminder for me if I'm walking somewhere and I'm just, you know, in my own brain, not being present. And then all of a sudden one of them is yelling at me. It's like, oh yeah, right, thanks. I'm not really paying attention to anything. And I need to
Yeah.
be a bit more, just kind of quiet the busy mind, you know? So that's cool that your
Yeah.
prior didn't have much to say about you today.
Yeah. He just checked me out and off he went. All was well, I guess. So
He's like, she's cool today. Yeah, that's cool. I
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I love,
That's a good point.
Yeah, do you feel like anything was different for you today in any way?
Um, not well. It felt like how I frequently come to feel sitting back here through these bird sits. You know, I just feel a real connection, a real comfort, reassurance, kind of excited because I never know what's going to happen. There's been so much going on back here that I had no idea was going on until I started these bird sits regularly. So it always feels really good out here, but it feels particularly good today because it's such a beautiful day. We had this gorgeous sunset last night, and then the half moon was out. The stars were all out, and then this morning it's just cobalt blue sky and really golden sun, and all the leaves, you know, it's like Maine here, really. You know, all the leaves are the maple tree leaves are glowing and they're on the ground. And anyway, it's just, I love this time of year. So
I know, it's super special. I wanted to thank you, Linda. Claudia, while you still maybe have a little bit of juice in your computer, I just wanted to ask a little bit about the jays that do you feel like they were alarming at you? Were they like pointing at you and getting upset, or was it something kind of were they maybe alarming around you?
No, I think it was me. I took off in this little path, and I just think they weren't used to people being back in there, and they were just kind of all around me, you know, not like they were going to attack me or anything, but they were really yelling at me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because that's another thing to be mindful of is that sometimes it's the whole concentric ring idea where like we enter the forest in a place where maybe people don't usually go. And then all of a sudden that causes the squirrel to get pushed, which causes this. And then maybe the fox and because the fox is moving around and the jays get upset because the fox is moving around, you know? So it's kind of neat to sort of look and
yeah,
listen and be like, oh, is that really me? Or did I like push something else that now they're upset about? But yeah, that can happen for sure at times where the birds are, you know, when they're not used to something in their environment, like, you know, you could be in a city park and have a bunch of jays not pay any mind to you because they're just used to people all the time. But you walk into a little place in nature where people don't usually go and everyone's like, hey, what the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it felt like.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. Sweet. Any other stories? Stories, questions, mysteries? Great. Well, this was a sweet, sweet way to be with everybody today. Thank you for giving me a reason to show up and be here. And thanks to everyone else who was here and had to go. And it was just, good to see y'all. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful
Have a good
fall
day,
week,
everyone. Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
Take
everyone.
good care. Bye, Tracy. Bye, Karen.
Bye.
See you,
I'm getting
Kathy.
blasted by
thank
soybeans.
you.
Yeah, bye, Suzanne and Linda. See ya.